Hi, welcome back to Waiting in Laodicea. This is called being labeled Prophecy 2, or How to Find Where to Live. Now, once again, let's refresh what we're looking at. During the end of times, or during a time of great calamity, you're going to need to, quote, run to the hills. Now, depending on how much time frame you have to prepare, is going to limit or restrict how much where you can go. If you've had almost no time to prepare, you need to be able to look and see where can I go on a short, quick look and head to it. Now, as you can see today, we have it set up to where you can see not only me, but my computer screen. And I have pulled up Google Earth so that we can take a look. And right now I've got it focused in on the United States of America. I come back out. Everywhere you see green, it's safe to assume there is sources of water there. That green means there's trees, wildlife, vegetation. This area here, though, doesn't look too habitable. Well, what you're looking at is parts of the Rocky Mountains that stretches all along through here. So, that's not necessarily meaning that it's no water. As you move south into Central America and South America, you got lots of water here, which means water is not going to be a problem. What you're going to find a problem here is shelter and how to protect yourself from the elements. And when you're dealing in a jungle situation, which is what you got up through this area here and in here, it's a whole different type of survival there. Now, for most of you, you're not living to where that's going to be your immediate choice. If you were, let's say you're living in Lansing, Michigan. Okay, we come into Michigan, and I'm going to turn on roads. If I can remember how to do it. There they are. Roads. Now, roads are going to have a major impact on you. There's Grand Rapids. There's Detroit. And remember, Lansing should be right here. Now, if you're in Lansing, you see all those big yellow lines? You don't want to be there. Living directly on a line means you're living right next to the highway. So, you need to pick places to go to that are going to be far enough away from populated centers that you're going to be safe. All these nice little islands in here seem like possibilities, especially since that's fresh water. If you can find someplace on one of these islands to hole up, or any place along the coastlines where you're free and away from people, you're going to find that it's easier. Now, as you move in, this patchwork effect means farms. You don't want to be on somebody's farm. They're not going to like it. So you need large sections of green or wilderness. Now, as you're looking on your own personal escape route and where to go, what you do is look for your wilderness areas. You look for your state parks, your national parks. If you can find one, that may be your best bet on where to go. Okay? So, lots of green, sadly, means also lots of people. So let's come back out. Where would I go if I was here? If I were in Lansing, I'll be honest, I would probably look at going up to either one of the islands or up into here into the UP. There's a lot of green, a lot of forest, which means the odds are you're going to be able to blend in and hide. And that's what you need to do. You're hiding. Now, if you're in one of these states here, you have huge swaths of area through here in the Appalachian Mountains. You just head into the mountains, find a nice green area, someplace away from people, and you set yourself up. Your goal, you're not building a new town. You're building this place for you and maybe a small community. And you do this with the idea of staying hidden. In later episodes, I'll talk to you about how to set up your community, how you set up your fireplaces and so on and so forth. And hopefully you can do this in such a way that you don't generate tons of smoke. Now, if you're in California, I'd move. I'm saying that kind of jokingly because there's a lot of good areas that you can survive in California and in Oregon, Washington State. All of these places have lots of wide open areas where you're going to generally be safer. Now you come down here into Nevada and Utah, you see that a lot of this is very, very wilderness, but not the wilderness that you want with a bunch of trees. As we zoom in real close, you see that this is desert. If you're going to survive in here, you need to find water. If you don't have water, you are not going to make it well. Now, yes, in the desert you can possibly do rainwater collection, but that's only good if you've had a chance to prep. It isn't going to give you water today. So come back out. You need to start looking. As you're making your plans on where to go, you need to figure about maybe 2-3 hour drive. 6 is pushing it. So the maximum, let's say maximum drive of 6 hours from wherever you're going to wherever you want to be. Now, if you're here in the southern parts of Arizona, New Mexico, parts of Texas over here, then you have several other options. You have this area, which is part of the Gila Wilderness, and it stretches all the way out from the middle of New Mexico all the way to Flagstaff. And then you actually head up and you come into the Grand Canyon region. All of these areas here would be fairly decent. Now this, with the red zones here, you're pushing into what is, that's the land, that's part of a reservation. And when you're dealing with reservations, people, that's like building on someone's farm. You're asking for trouble. Coming back across here, this is still mountain region here. On this side of the mountains, it starts getting flatter and a lot more drier area. But there are places even through here that you can easily set up your little hideout. Again, stay away from populated areas. And if you do, you will find lots of openings. Now, if you're down here, and if you've chosen to go out and survive out in the desert, you need, as I've said, water. Now you see all these lines here? They're tricky. They're out to trick you because it's not really water. It's just different colorations in the ground. So make sure what you're looking at is water and not just different colored land. Now, as you look here, you can see this is water. There's a water line running all the way through here. That's the Rio Grande River. And it runs along the Texas border, up, and straight up through the center of the state of New Mexico. The problem with thinking you're going to survive on this area is, look how close to these towns. You'd have to get further and further and further out to get an area where you can find the water and survive. If you did, like say if you went into this region here, you'd have water because you have Oxbow Lake. Question is, were you going to find the other things that you need for life? Well, I'm pretty sure that if there is water, there is life. So yes, you could conceivably come out into this region, get your water, build a shelter, and we're going to zoom in as close as we can. Now this, let's see if it'll clear up. This is brush. These are not trees. Most of these are, bushes. Can you find a decent place out here? Well, yeah, look, right here's a bunch of trees. The problem you're going to have in this region is you're also going to have to keep an eye out for certain government agencies, like the Border Patrol. Now, if you cross that border and you go into Mexico, again, you have a lot of dry area. But it does look like there's a river right here. Very possibly be a river, but it may not be. Check. Use other maps. Google Earth is not the best, perfect map. It gives you an idea where to start with. It gives you something to plan from. If you're going to pick something, you start by looking on Google Earth or wherever you want to look, and then you go out and you actually do a little bit more investigating. As you come back out, you start seeing over here is green. Once again, if there is green, there's generally water somewhere in this area. But you gotta be careful because towns. So as you are doing and building all of these thoughts into your head on where to go and how to get there, your short-term goal is get someplace where you can get water, find shelter, and remain hidden. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to live underground in a bunker. Although if you have a bunker and you have access to water in it, why not? Well, other than the fact you got to come out of the bunker to get food. So as you're making your plans, you have your short term, the immediate, okay, I've got to go now plan. And if you do that, this is what we're looking at. Now let's say you have more time. If you're going to do more time for a medium or long-term plan, you open up your, let's see, we're going to go ahead and go to, open a new tab. And as you can see, my computer's a little bit slow today. And it's a little slow every day, but we're working on it. Type in land for sale. All right. If we come down now, all of these are ads, and as you search, realize that this is somebody trying to make a living. This one here says over 10 million acres of land. This is rural land all across America. You have farms, you have ranches. Recreational land is recreational and hunting are two of your best bets. Why? Because nobody is going to expect you to be living out there. Ranches for sale. Not a bad place either. Not another very good place also. Natural forest for sale. Forests, as we just scroll through the listing, you see that, okay, here's $1 million for 365 acres. And your price is 36 acres. Now this one's kind of expensive, but I'm assuming that's because it has this house on it. If you're looking for just acreage, now this one is in South Carolina. All of these places are can have potentials for you. You find where you live. You look for what will give you a place to be. Now, also keep in mind that prices change. Land for sale in one area may be more expensive than land in another area. What you need to do is find, here's 2.2 acres in Marion, South Carolina. You find what suits you best. Find the price you can afford and start saving for it. Now, I'm going to tell you something, and it may sound wrong. But remember, if you're still paying off the land when the world goes to an end and everything goes wrong, I don't think they're going to come repo it. What you need to find is land you can pay off, hopefully. If you're paid off, then nobody has a record of you anymore. There's no more banks hunting you down. This makes things better. If the bank is coming after you, if the bank survives the crash, then that may be something you may have to worry about. What you have to find is land you can survive with. And as you can see there are lots of websites and lots of places you can go out and search for your land. When you're looking, land for sale, Lands of America, land for sale in America. 2,000 acres in upstate New York. 1 acre. 1 acre is not going to be sufficient for you to hide on. 5 acres is a little bit tough. You need a little bit, I would estimate probably at least 10 acres. Something where you can hide into it. Okay? 1 acre, as I said, just no way. 5 acres, okay, here's a 2 acre property. But that's probably only about, let's see, about where I live, that would be maybe 2 blocks of land. You're not going to be able to hide in 2 blocks of land. 200 acres? Okay, you can hide in that. 93 acres, you can hide in that. 80 acres in Wyoming. Now this beautiful area probably got good hunting. I'm sorry about that, folks. Telephone call. Somebody trying to sell me insurance and repair coverage for my car. Sadly, I don't even have a car right now, so don't know what they were talking about. But that's life in modern America. Somebody's always trying to sell you something. As you go through all of this, you will eventually find yourself where a short-term plan and a long-term plan. You find your short-term is where you can go if the problem starts tomorrow. If the U.S. suddenly finds itself in a civil war, or if, God forbid, a major natural catastrophe happened, you would need to have a place to go to be safe. Cities are not an answer. So, pick your short-term destination. Get it worked out. Figure out what you're going to need for that destination. Now, again, if you looked at that desert Southwest, I happen to know that in the area around the El Paso region, water level is kind of deep, for number one, and number two, it's salty. You need to find a way to desalinate the water that's there. Any water needs to be treated as and dealt with as if it is contaminated. You don't know, so you've got to be prepared. You got to find a way to purify your water. And I will, in a later episode, I will talk to you about different types of ways to purify your water and how you can do this. Desalination, to take the salt out of your salt water. The easiest way, boil it, capture the steam. Figure out how to do that, you have water. Drinking water that's safe for you. So, as you are looking around, keep all of these things in mind. These impact your plans. It's interesting how you plan for where to go. You've got to know how to plan. You've got to know that, okay, if I go and I'm going to try to survive in the desert southwest, go out there. Go to one of the areas out along the highway. Take a look at what you're going to look at. Look at some of the arroyos. Drive around and get a feel for the land so that you are a little more prepared. If you're going to live in the UP, drive up there. Anywhere you plan to go, you need to drive and check out. Make sure you know what you're going to be dealing with when you get up there. That way you can plan accordingly. If there's an abundance of water and you don't have to worry about digging a well or anything else, that's going to be helpful. Now you know what you need to do is find a way to be able to store and purify. All of these things should be done as you are researching and preparing your short-term and your long-term plan. Now, if you're on your long-term plan, you got your short-term covered first, because definitely plan for the short-term to begin with, and then upgrade. Find that property that you want to be able to hide in. The land that you are going to try to buy. Buy that land. Get it prepared. Go up there and know that land. Get a survey done of it. Do the survey yourself. Photo it. Cover it. Make sure you understand your land and what you're going to need to live on it. And then start prepping, making your plans. If you own the land, you can begin moving things to your land in advance. You get waterproof sheds, which all sorts of waterproof sheds. Again, the internet today makes your life a lot easier. If you can go out and look up, well, let's see what happens. Waterproof sheds as soon as my computer lets me in. Waterproof, oops. Waterproof sheds. Okay, these are big ones. You don't need that big of a shed, but let's... Okay, Home Depot. Let's see what Home Depot lists a waterproof shed at. I don't know what they're showing me there. It's a shelter of some kind. Okay, but you get the idea. Go look them up. Buy a shed, take it out there, and start putting your stuff up. Put your supplies. Put your tent. Put your things that are heavy that you need to put up there. And if you're going to buy a quad or an ATV, take it, put it up there. That way it's not sitting however many miles away your house is from your goal. Do this for each and every one of the things that you need that are big, and put them up there and get prepared. If you do this and you get all this done in advance, as much as you can do in advance, then you start building your home. The difference between the steps. emergency goal or your short-term, how I told you, it's what you're going to go to if the balloon goes up in the next couple days. Intermediate, you've got your land. You found some land and you've purchased it. Now you know where you're going. You start putting things out on your land for the intermediate that will help you survive. Good tents. And remember, there's a difference between tents. There are tents and then there are tents. In one of the later episodes, I'll talk about the difference between tents and where you're living and what type of tent you will need. And finally, as you finish preparing, get your intermediate finished, you go to the long term. That's when you go out to your property, out in the woods, out wherever you've decided to build, and you start making a permanent shelter. This is your home in the ground, your home in the woods. Someplace, for in the interim, before the balloon goes up, this is your vacation home. This is your camping. This is where you go to get away from the world. You don't have to wait for the end of the world to get away from the world. That's a place to just go, relax, and be comfortable. Eventually, your long-term plans will finish and you will have a very nice place to be. And since you've already taken care of the necessities, if and when, actually not if, when things go south, then you will know where to go and you will be prepared. This has been Waiting in Laodicea. My name again is A.T. Martinez. Hope you've enjoyed today's message. If you have, please check that like button, share, subscribe, get your friends to like and subscribe, get your kids, your mom, your dad, your uncles, everybody. The more people that like and subscribe, the more people we can reach with the message and help prepare. Second thing, if you would like to help this ministry, then there are many ways you can do so. The easiest one is like and share. Second thing you can do, donations. Any and all amounts are accepted. As you can, if you want to see how to do this and you want to donate, all you have to do is go to our website. That's www.waitinginlaodicea.weebly.com. And on the very first page, you will see ways to donate and help. You also have an email address on there where you can write to us and talk with us and offer your help in other ways. Anybody who wants to help, we will not turn away help. Finally, I want you all to have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for spending some time with me. And have a glorious and blessed day. Thank you.